Mālole soifua, it is Ete Roa Lafaele here, co-founder and director of Fiber Fale, and we're here for this amazing session called Design in the Age of AI. So come and listen today from the team here from Media Design School, who will share their amazing perspective and their knowledge about career pathways in creative tech, but especially with the rise of AI. Now, myself and the awesome crew here know that the changing dynamics of a designer is happening very fast. But today, you are going to be in a treat because buckle up your seatbelts, tie your shoelaces, because we're going to have a panel where we talk about the landscape of a designer, including the good, the bad, and the ugly. So while you're there now, let's give a hand for our amazing panel, yes, and give yourself a hand. Yes. So to start us off, we're just going to go across the room, introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you do. So we'll start here. Bless.
Kia ora. So my name's Jim Murray, and I'm Program Director of a program called the Bachelor of Media Design at Media Design School.
Kia ora, I'm Tammy Leong. I'm a senior lecturer in the same program Jim is in, which is Bachelor of Media Design School.
Kia ora koutou, ko David Tokuingwa. I am the Managing Director of Digital Arts Network. We're an experience agency just here in Auckland City.
Kia ora, my name's Louise Kellerman. I'm the founder and managing director of Design Assembly, which is a community for Aotearoa New Zealand visual designers.
Bless. Well, we are in for a treat today. Let's start off with our first question, which is, what is the impact of AI on digital design? So you could talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the amazing, but would love to hear about what the impacts of AI have on digital design. Bless.
I could start. I think it's going to have a profound effect. You know, it's from an education perspective and someone who's worked in industry before and quite closely connected with industry. We see our designers and young learners, designers, working with AI to amplify the design outcomes at a quicker and faster rate. So they're using it for all sorts of different things. They're using it to generate concepts and then validate their concepts. They're using it to create storyboards quicker, faster, and then validate those. So it has a profound effect on our ability to be able to take something conceptually and realize that and then validate it very, very quickly. And it also will have an effect on designers when they come to take a concept and then produce that concept for reframe for different formats, you know, for things like for social media content, for example. So I guess from a design industry perspective, being able to charge to reframe that content across different media platforms will probably be lost and is arguably being lost at the moment. But my hope is that, especially for our young designers, is if they embrace this technology, is it kind of enables them to become sort of super designers, I guess, you know, and in a small country like Aotearoa, that could have a huge impact on the economy and opportunities for people here. So.
Well, speaking about opportunity, because I work with a lot of the year 3 students, which is upon to graduate, and we talk about portfolio and career pathway constantly every day in the classrooms because they're nervous, right? But AI came in, especially this year. It just opens up this whole conversation of new career path, new landscapes of all kinds of designer roles that don't exist, maybe just last year. So we are, you know, in year 3, we have all this conversation on how can we reconfigure what sort of designers you want to embark into and not the traditional role. And also like, you know, recreating a new role within a company. So you might join a company as a designer, but initiative to pick up some of this technology and, you know, embrace it, and it will land you into a totally whole new role that you recreate for yourself. And also like this landscape is so new, so which means if you're a graduate in this new industry, there is no other challenge that anyone out there that's an experienced designer, you know, they won't have extra experience like you. You know, everyone will be quite equal in this space.
Yeah, I completely agree. We're seeing it in industry already. So Jim, spot on in terms of producing things really quickly, getting ideas out to clients. This is a fantastic technology to do that. I think there's a wonderful opportunity around quantity I think the great thing is that quality will still be determined by the end user and by people, you know. So I think there's a really great opportunity for automation. There's a great opportunity for speed of execution, which is fantastic. But again, I would also agree that with you, Tammy, around the ability to sort of level the playing field. No one knows this stuff. So, you know, if I'm going to employ someone that is going to use artificial intelligence, I may as well just as easily employ a graduate fresh out of school as someone that's been in the industry for 20 years. I tell you what, that's probably going to be quite cost effective too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really exciting time and scary for a lot of people as well. So I think it's important to take pause and slow down, and we have an opportunity to evaluate this new technology and this kind of new frontier of design as we go along, and have the important conversations. And also it shows that key skill of being a good designer is that curiosity as well. So it's a great opportunity just to, you know, be curious about this and play and as the others have said, you know, in terms of iterating lots of concepts and then having that ability to, you know, articulate what is still good and what is relevant to the audience or the community that you're working with. It's a really exciting time to be in design.
No, that's right. And you hit on the nail about designers being curious or curiosity. And I think my second question really comes into one of the pointers. So what is the value of design? Or why design? You know, you've hit on it, but I'd love to hear more about what you all four think of the value of design, especially with these rapid changes.
That's right.
Bless.
Yeah, well, I'd love to continue with that question. And it's something that we're on a continual journey with. Like, we can see that from the early days even of the internet. And I remember when we had the value of design was to mark up print.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, so we've been through a number of iterations in the last couple of decades. So what is the value of design? I think it's in working with communities and collaborating and facilitating and bringing new perspectives. And also, I believe that it's important to learn about business and for designers, because that is the value, is to be able to communicate and talk to the organisations and the businesses that we work with and to speak their language. So the value of design then, you know, can be twofold really, in terms of addressing the big hairy problems, but then also you know, working with the businesses in terms of the value of their products and services and being able to articulate that and come at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think understanding the need, and I think designers, the place where they were already and will continue to add the most value is understanding the need, understanding the users. I mean, you can be the best prompter of an AI engine in the world, but unless you actually understand the problem you're trying to solve and who you're solving it for, you won't generate the right output and you won't generate the right outcomes. So as a designer, I think it actually gives you more time to understand business, to understand the humans or the animals or the world that you're designing for. And then you've got these tools. I mean, you've got a spade. Spade's no good if you don't know how deep to dig the hole, right? So let's find out. Like, that's what designers should be doing, is figuring out what it is that we're digging.
Yeah.
This is just another tool.
And then speaking about, you know, understanding, especially AI in the space of Internet of Things, I know it's growing rapidly with all this product coming in, right? A lot of this conversation we had in class where, you know, students actually articulate, you know, they said like, oh, what is my role then? You know, if things can be done, the technology is there, you know, the prompts are there, visuals are easy to implement. What is my role? A lot of conversation comes in between, like, what's the relationship? You know, as a designer, we don't just design product, but it's more like, how do we design the relationship between human to an AI to another human, you know, or human to a very complicated device to another human, or even trying to learn how to use this technology like voice prompt or Siri. My phone don't pick up. How do we even have this communication and relationship with, you know, all this automation and all these bots? That relationship is also a design process.
That's true.
When we design for humans, right? We are humans, we design for humans. AI will enable us to be able to understand data sets and get to answers quicker, faster than we ever have before. But it's up to us how we interpret that data, how we critically analyse the information that's being fed to us and the outcomes that we produce. I think critical thinking is going to be key, certainly in education, and has always been key to design. But designers are asked to do so many different things. We have so many different clients, to go from in the morning dealing with, a product for a child to then in the evening dealing with, healthcare, or for the elderly, and the limitations of those things. And to be able to understand all those different complexities is really hard to do. But to be able to tap into something that's almost like a little helper on the side who can go through and find all that information for you is going to help us get to the answers quicker. But we do need to keep in mind that we need to educate young designers to keep that critical thinking going.
I think the critical thinking is the most important bit, because if you don't understand what the truth is, then quite easily the AI could disrupt what we know to be true. When you can, end-to-end production of a website or end-to-end production of video content where essentially no humans could be involved in that process in the not too distant future, then knowing what it is that you're seeing and whether it's true is really up to us. And so understanding that truth is another thing that designers are going to have to cope with and understand and do.
Well, I'm excited for the future of designers, I'll tell you that, especially hearing from all your perspectives. But honestly, if you were in this room right now, it would be amazing to hear more. But as we come to close, I actually like to give the opportunity for all of you to give our viewers a small nugget about a career in AI, but also what you would want to bless our viewers about your work as they encounter their future into a designer, but also with this changing world of AI. So we'll start here and we'll give your last remarks to our amazing viewers today. Bless.
Yeah, I think from me, in education, being able to actually allow our students to play in this space, because AI is not really in its infancy, but it is something that has really come to the fore quite recently across all sorts, especially in terms of a debate. And so for me, allowing people to play and then critically analyse what we've done and open up the debate is key.
Well, for me, I kind of agree with Jim, but I will add another layer of empathy. I think being a designer, tapping into all this tech, it's shiny buttons, it's great, it's exciting, but if you don't have empathy of who you're working with, who you're working for, and who you're building for, then there's no point with all this, shiny buttons in front of you.
Yeah, I've had a varied career. This is only new that I've moved into a fully digital design agency in the last couple of years. I'm super enjoying it, but I have had a life outside of this where I've seen artificial intelligence applied to multiple industry contexts. Every time it's applied to industry context, so in banking, in energy, always implemented with a designer. You can't implement these things without people that understand the process, the people, and the technology. And I think there's a really awesome opportunity as we just see generative AI, which I think is the new buzz, that's what's got everyone talking, is just another tool for designers and people that are going to make the world a better place to enhance the experience. So I think, Jim, you mentioned data. We need to be really careful about those. Those that are in control of data will be in control of the output of the AI. So we as an industry need to keep those people honest, right? So we're talking about those big companies like OpenAI. We need to, as an industry, make sure that we have a dialogue, that our voice is heard, and that we keep them honest, because that data set will come with its biases. It will come with its mistruths. But it could come with an entirely lack of bias, and it could come with a whole bunch of honesty. And it's really up to us as the users of this technology to guide that. Don't let the people that control the data and the tools dictate the terms. And so I think that's a really important thing for our students to, our students and our young to understand.
And that idea of sharing, I think, and being curious, as Jim and Tammy have talked about, leads us to be collaborative and play in this space together as a community and as a profession, and then grow together and, as you say, look at those data sets and have that honesty and include everyone, I think, along in this latest tool within AI.
Bless. No, that's true, because when I was listening to what you were thinking, saying and stuff, I was thinking, okay, so if I was a designer and AI was coming in, I would be, I would be excited. But then I think a big question for all four of you, because you are all in this area, is what's one thing that you want your designers to be aware of as AI starts to really ramp up? Like, I know you've mentioned it, but I think the key thing I'm kind of noticing here is that you want not just any designers, but you want the best designers that can work with AI, but also work with there's like a boundary of learning between human and inhuman. So I'd like to hear your final thoughts of that, because I feel the theme here, but I feel like we can dig a bit deeper.
I think with any technology, if you look back a few thousand years when we became agricultural societies, right? It used to take 99% of people's energy and people to produce food for 100%. So there was 1% was around dig the garden, right? And now, if we look at how that works in the world, about 3% of the Earth's population are involved in creating the food for 100% of the population, right? So, and we don't complain about that. That's actually given us more time to get out of, I'm talking about digging holes again, but get out of the fields, get out of, that manual work and get into some higher level thinking and higher level outcomes. I think, we see the world as in a real critical phase, right? So we've got global warming. I think yesterday I read about, we're going to hit this 1.5 degree rise by 2027. So maybe our freedom is the quicker we can do our storyboards and the quicker we can get these visual aids out there, the more we can think about designing for, temperature change. We can actually apply our thinking to other problems that at the moment, we don't have time to do. And so I think if we're right now, 99% of designers are spending their time making websites to buy stuff with, or, maybe now we can have 3% of our designers making new e-commerce sites, and the other 97% can actually go and solve big problems and make the world a better place. So I'm all up for it. I think it's fantastic. We just need to be aware of what the power is and make sure it's aligned to outcomes for the globe.
Any add-ons to that? Thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's designers have always had the ability to be able to tell stories and communicate, and that is a huge power to have. And so it does come with it responsibility, So I think I'd like to think that designers of the future are going to have to really be responsible for what they do and the outcomes that they produce. And so all the way along that design process, they're going to have to evaluate the content that's coming in and be part of the conversation, and not just produce content that they haven't, that they don't trust or that they don't feel is designed for the betterment of the world, because I do believe that design has the power to change things fundamentally. So hopefully this is another tool that will enable us to get there quicker, faster and better.
And hopefully this tool can provide diversity.
Oh, yes.
I know AI is fascinating, and we talk about data that's being not inclusive, owned by these people. We need to be responsible. Again, a designer, there is also a disruption that you are responsible to kind of create, is to open diversity using AI. How powerful that is.
Any last thoughts just onto that amazing question? Because honestly, we could be here for hours.
For sure. I mean, I would just say there are challenges. There are concerns. And with anything new, you should be concerned. There is a good and bad in everything, right? There's two sides of a coin. And again, it's up to us as willing participants that are going into this with eyes open to make sure that there's way more good than bad.
Bless. Yes, lovely. Wow, we have come to the end of this amazing talanoa. Honestly, time went so fast with all four of you. I feel like we're already related. Bless you. Well, that is today's session, Design in the Age of AI. If you missed this, wow, don't miss it again. We hope to see you in the next session, same time, same place. Ka kite anō. Bye. Yeah.